Hey, happy Thursday, everyone. Today I wanted to come on because I often have people asking me for some healthy recipes. And so I thought what I would do is share one of my absolute favorites and my go-tos. We probably have this at least once a week, and that's tacos. We make it turkey tacos. So I'm going to set you down here, and I'm going to start getting myself prepared to make some of these tacos. So here's the deal. First of all, this is a crock pot meal. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing it now so that I can get this into the crock pot and get it cooking. So the first thing I'm going to do, first of all, I'm just going to show you this. What I did was I got all my ingredients out, and I've got my turkey, and I've weighed it and all of that. So I've got all my ingredients out, and what I'm going to do is start off by adding a little bit of olive oil. 1 teaspoon of olive oil to a warm pan, medium-high heat. Okay, I'm gonna let that heat up for just a second. Now, this recipe calls for onions, but here's what I learned about 7 years ago, which shocked me. White onions, yellow onions are actually pretty starchy vegetables. So whenever I can, I like to swap them out for non-starchier options. Green onions are a great option. Instead of regular onions, I love green onions. I'm also a big proponent in saving myself time. So I actually went to the store and got these green onions already chopped up. And it calls for a whole white onion, so I'm going to do about half of this. This is 4 ounces of green onions. I'm going to do about half of this because, that's probably about the equivalent of what 1 whole onion would be. So I added my olive oil, and I'm going to add my turkey. This is going to feed about 4 of us. We've got a family of 4, so adding my turkey. And then I'm going to add about half of this to the pot. Cooking over the stove top. All right, I need to put this up again. All right, so now what I'm doing is really what I just want to do is brown this turkey. I used 94% lean turkey. You can use 99% lean turkey, whatever it is that you want to do. But what I want to do is I really just want to get it browned up. And then I'm going to put it into the crock pot. So I'm a big proponent of crock pots because of how easy they are. Really and truly how easy they are. Sometimes when I make this meal, I'll actually ask my husband to just brown up the turkey for me the night before, or I'll brown it up the night before so that it's all ready to go and it's in the fridge, because this is honestly the longest part of preparing this meal, is just browning that turkey. We want to cut it up so it, we're making it into tacos, so we'll be grounding it up in a minute. All right, I'm going to turn this back around here. So, whenever you're making any kind of recipe, you don't have to go with exactly what the recipe is. I'm always finding ways, as I said, to try to make the recipes healthy. Now, listen, this recipe that I got is incredibly healthy. It really is. But I always try to make tweaks wherever I can. And, even if I find a recipe that isn't so healthy, again, you just make tweaks. You're just making tweaks. So, for example, this recipe calls for pasta sauce, tomato sauce. Tomato sauce is great, but there is typically a lot of sugar in tomato sauce. So what I use instead is diced tomatoes. So this recipe calls for an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. So I just took a 14-ounce can, 14.5-ounce can of tomatoes. I actually poured out the inside the can. I don't know if you can see this. Inside the can there actually is tomato juice, and I wanted to get that juice out. I just wanted the tomatoes, so I sifted out the tomato juice just to have those tomatoes, those diced tomatoes. Again, just a little way to make it just a little bit more healthy. It's going to be a great healthy meal. So these are tacos, and when it's all said and done later on tonight when we eat, our kids, they love tacos. They love taco shells, they love tortillas. So what I do is, it depends upon what they want. You know, occasionally we'll pull these out for them, the taco shells. But I actually really enjoy using the whole wheat, 100% whole wheat tortillas, the flour tortillas. And there's lots of, there's spinach tortillas. There's lots of great options that you can use when you're, again, want to swap out for better ingredients. Right now, I'm really trying to avoid a lot of extra carbs, so I'm actually going to make mine into a lettuce taco. I'm going to use and I'll show you later on tonight. I'm going to come back on tonight when we serve the dinner, and I'll show you how we prepare it. Because I'm going to use big lettuce leaves to wrap up my tacos. This also calls for shredded cheese, avocado, lettuce. And really, you're going to make your tacos however it is that you want to make them. That's the best part about Taco Thursday. Typically, we have Taco Tuesday, but we did pork this week for Tuesday. So we're doing Taco Thursday this week. So we're browning this up, and let's see, I don't even know how long I've been on this video. But it really just takes a few minutes to get it brown, and all you want to do is get it brown. As soon as you don't see any of the pink part, I'm going to show this in just a second so you know what I'm talking about. So there's a little bit of pink still here. So you can see that what I'm doing is I just constantly am flipping it. It's kind of hard to hold a phone and cook at the same time, but I hope you all can see this. And I'm just cutting up the tacos, cutting up the turkey meat, again, just so that it becomes more taco-like, easier to brown up. See those green onions in there? Yummy, yummy, yummy. In just a second, I'm going to put this into the crock pot. And then I'm going to add the other ingredients. And I do have all the other ingredients listed out already here, so I made it that much easier for myself. Listen, if you want the recipe for this, feel free to send me a message or comment on this video, and I'll be happy to send you the recipe. It's so super easy. In fact, this is typically, you know how when you make meals for other people, when people are sick or they're just in need, or if you want to bring something to a potluck, oh my gosh, this is my go-to. I love this recipe. And my kids love it too, so that's even better. All right, so this is almost ready to go. Now here's the other thing I'm going to do. You can see that there's a little bit of water, which quite frankly, that's fat. This is 94% fat-free, or lean, 94% lean turkey. So I do want whatever fat has been cooked off, I don't want to bring that into my recipe. So I'm just going to make sure I think this is pretty good to go. All right, yep, looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a slotted spoon. Turn this off, and I'm going to take a slotted spoon, okay? And the reason I do that is because I want to, not take in the fat. So I take the slotted spoon, I have my crock pot right here, and I'm just going to transfer. If you're not so concerned about that, you really just could pick up the pan and pour it right in. But again, I'd just rather not add this to my recipe. A lot of meat here. Really is a lot of meat. So I'm sure, depending upon your family, you might even be able to, feed more. And you'll get a sense from your family as to how much they're eating, what they like, and how much to make. But typically, this is what we do for 4 meals or with a little bit of leftovers. All right, so I'm picking up this turkey meat here. You can see there's a lot of that fat left over, which I love that I'm leaving it here. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, now here, I'm gonna have to put you back down again. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm adding the rest of the ingredients. So we put the turkey in with a little bit of olive oil and the green onions, brown that all up. Then we transfer it to the slow cooker. Okay, the next ingredient is garlic. Calls for minced garlic. Again, I'm all about saving myself time, so I actually buy minced garlic in a can. And a half a teaspoon of minced garlic is about 1 garlic clove. This is asking for 3. So I'm gonna put 1.5 teaspoons of garlic in. See what I'm doing here. I'm putting that in there. It then calls for the tomato sauce. I'm gonna pour this right into the pot, the diced tomatoes. Then it calls for cumin, 2 teaspoons of cumin. Again, you want this recipe, just message me or put a message in. I'll be happy to send this out. So I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of cumin. Uh, 2 teaspoons of chili powder. My chili powder right here. My teaspoon, and I'm just pouring it in. Okay, and then it calls for 1 teaspoon of oregano, dried oregano. This is right here. And then a half a teaspoon of paprika. Now this calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. My kids have got really sensitive taste buds, so I really just like shake this in. I just a little tiny bit. I mean, it's not even a half of an eighth. It's just a little bit. And then it calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I like to use kosher salt. Obviously, what's the best about this is if you go over or under, it really isn't a big deal. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this back around again. This is what it looks like. It's all in here. Now what I'm gonna do is just mix it up. There we go. It's looking pretty good. All right. I'm going to put it into my crock pot, plug it in. Okay, there it is. All right, so again, with crock pot recipes, a lot of them you can either do on low or high, depending upon how many hours you have. This, because it's early in the morning, we're not going to eat until nighttime. I'm going to put it on low for 6 to 7 hours. So it's 9 o'clock right now, so 6 hours is about 3:30, 4:30, and then once 4:30 hits, I'm gonna put it on keep warm until we eat about 6:30. So stay tuned until later on today. I'll kind of probably come back in and show you how it's cooking, how it's looking, and then tonight when we serve it up, I'll show you what we do. All right, guys, have a great Thursday. Bye.